Okay, this is actually part 3 of the 90s decades to see what top 4 movies are going to represent the 90s in the ultimate Kumite. Joining me today is Art Cherries, honorary 4th member of the Goods, but according to Aspen,
I'm official, bro.
He's the intern.
I'm official. You said that like 4 episodes ago.
Yeah, but Aspen said that he was an intern.
Aspen hasn't been here, so.
All right, cool. And also joining us is the funniest person in South Texas finalist, Pinche Zeke.
How you doing, guys?
All right.
Happy to be here.
So 32 movies. What 4 are going to represent the ultimate Kumite, the ultimate decade of movies? Round 1. Terminator 2 versus Speed.
Terminator 2.
Terminator 2.
Easily.
I agree 110%.
Fair enough.
Next one, Matrix versus Fight Club.
Both of these movies have a special place in my heart, so it's kind of tough. What are you going to do with that, Art?
I love Fight Club, but Matrix was it built, there was so much more that left. There was all this, there's all these theories about the Matrix, so I'm going to go with the Matrix.
Well, Matrix was a game changer as far as film with the special effects. Where, I think I was the first one to actually really...
Yeah, I mean, how many times
360.
is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love Fight Club for personal reasons. It touches me.
We all do.
But I'm going to go with the Matrix in this one.
Okay. Wow, I bet you that was hard.
It was. Sorry, Tyler. You're my boy.
All right. Pulp Fiction versus Shawshank Redemption.
Ooh, gosh.
Oh, my God.
All right, I'll go first. Love both films.
Oh my God.
But if you watch TBS anytime on the weekends, you're going to see Shawshank Redemption.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
They should just have a Shawshank Redemption channel. Because it's always on TBS.
TBS Junior, all Shawshank, all the time.
TV Shawshank. There you go.
Oh my God.
What do you got?
It's Shawshank and who again?
Shawshank and Pulp Fiction.
I'm gonna go Pulp Fiction.
Gotta be.
I'm gonna go Pulp Fiction because Quentin Tarantino, that was like kind of his
I know that's
breakout.
That's
you know what I mean? Because he had Reservoir Dogs, but this was his breakout. And if it wasn't for Forrest Gump, he would have swept the Oscars. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm going Quentin Tarantino with this Pulp Fiction.
You know what? Can I change mine? I'm changing mine. He'll let it out. Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction. Okay. Pulp Fiction wins.
Sorry, TBS.
Well, what's Pulp Fiction on?
What?
What's Pulp Fiction always on?
Nothing. You don't see it. The VHS. That's what it's on.
All right. Let's go a little horror here. And we're going to go with 7 versus The Sixth Sense.
Oh, good Lord.
So 6 versus 7. What do you got?
6.
Well,
don't forget to tip your waitresses, folks.
I think everybody can agree it's pretty much Shyamalan's best movie.
I would go Split right now, but yeah.
Yeah, well, it's one of those. It's up there.
It's up there, and this was the one that really set it off.
7, you know what really did set 7 off for me was Kevin Spacey.
He was amazing.
He was amazing in that movie.
Yeah.
And just because of him, I'm gonna go with 7 over Sixth Sense. I love Bruce Willis.
The ending, shocking ending that you didn't see coming?
It kind of saw it coming.
Oh, okay.
For Sixth Sense, there were clues that you kind of...
He hinted, but that's the whole thing.
Right. You weren't really sure.
In hindsight, when you watch his movies, you're like, oh, that makes sense because of this, that makes sense. I'm going to go with Sixth Sense, personally. Because when you think about the 90s, do people talk about the, 7? Do they really talk about 7 as a 90s movie that's going to carry it? Or do people talk about The Sixth Sense, if you're still talking about 90s movies? And this was the introduction of Shyamalan, M. Night Shyamalan.
It was, but I still think that 7...
This is, and when you compare, which of his great movies, or which of the movies is his best one, it's up there. And this is why, for me, The Sixth Sense is still up there. I mean, this was a movie that people went back to see again because they're like, oh, well, let me see if that really made sense. Oh,
all right. What you got, Bubba?
It sounds like we got we need a tiebreaker here. Dang it, that's a freaking hard one. All right, I'm gonna have to go with 7. Based purely on Kevin Spacey and what's in the bag. What's in the bag? I gotta go. Brad Pitt freaking showed something different after freaking Legends of the Fall.
I argue that movie's only what's in the box.
That's.
Wait a minute. But when you go with that, when you go through the freaking originality of killing based on the 7 deadly sins, it's original. Not that Sixth Sense was, because that's like Zeke said too previously. It was a game changer. But the writing, the freaking Fincher directing, it was too damn good. I gotta go.
No way does that. The Sixth Sense. Do people talk about 7? Do people still like, hey, let's go see? Let me just see what's on. No.
Have you ever met anybody who didn't like 7?
Apparently, Art.
I haven't. No, I didn't say I didn't like it. I didn't say I didn't like it. But if I had to choose, The Sixth Sense. If you still ask people, hey, I'm going to watch that movie. That movie you can still watch and be like, oh yeah, I can see where this is.
I would put 7 in the top 5 psychological thriller before I put Sixth Sense in there. That's just mine.
Terrence.
All right, next one.
On your side.
Thank you.
Heat versus Titanic.
I don't know if I really feel this is an Heat. I'm just gonna go with Heat, only because I'm such a huge Pacino, De Niro fan.
The bank robbery scene alone,
just on its own merit by itself. If that entire movie was just that scene, it would still probably be one of my favorite
But
movies.
the actual sinking and the special effects of Titanic was excellent.
Titanic, hold on, and I'm going to say Titanic.
The truth.
I'm going to say Titanic. Titanic, I mean, it was nonstop. People just in droves kept on watching this movie.
It's the number 2 movie
of all. And so for you to say, oh, this movie, because of personal, I prefer this type of movie, this other. No, you have to think about what is really the 90s movie. What was a movie that people remember from the 90s? Obviously, Titanic is in the top. Because people kept on watching the movie over and over, just nonstop watching. They would watch it once, they would watch it again, they would watch it again. This is where you really have to stop and think, okay, am I just choosing my own personal preference because I don't like this type of movie? Or am I going with what do I really?
Does it necessarily make it a better movie though? Just because
let's look at the numbers, and that will tell you alone.
Okay. Just because more people saw it doesn't make it a better movie.
Okay, I did the previous tiebreaker, Terrence. Why don't you give me the tiebreaker between Heat and Titanic?
Heat all the way.
Why?
Thank you very much.
Why?
Zeke makes a good point. Just because more people saw it does not make it a better movie.
There's a reason why people kept on going back to see the movie.
All right,
That too.
I can think of 2 good reasons.
That's right.
More depth.
Guys, comment and tell them that this is absurd.
If you had just an everyday freaking every Saturday night in the middle of the night, 2 movies are on, Heat, Titanic. What really are you going to be watching?
Watching Heat.
Exactly. Thank you. All right.
No way. You know that's
Since you guys are acting like children, let's go with a little child movie here. Beauty and the Beast versus Aladdin.
I'm biased on this one.
Aladdin, obviously.
I agree too.
Aladdin,
definitely.
versus Beauty and the Beast.
Now, bit of background.
You were Beast.
Beauty and the Beast came out in theaters in about
92.
92. I had a girlfriend. I had sex to this movie in the theater.
Doesn't count. Just because it has a memorable experience.
I love this movie. I think this movie is fantastic.
Welcome to the goods.
I'm kind of fuzzy on the plot, but I'm gonna pick this movie.
Okay, well you lose because I pick Aladdin.
Fair enough.
But that was amazing though.
You were knee deep in not the movie.
Yeah. All right, so we got some title characters now. Both really great movies. Jerry Maguire versus Forrest Gump.
Oh man, Jerry Maguire. Show me the money, right?
No.
But I'm gonna go with Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump. Clearly, this is a movie. Everyone's always loved Tom Hanks, right? There's very few movies that you can name that you really disliked. Maybe they weren't your top films, but ultimately.
Bachelor Party.
That's an amazing movie, right?
His best movie ever.
So this is a movie that Tom Hanks really carried the entire film. This is one that you were cheering. All around, just a great film. I'm gonna choose Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump captured like the zeitgeist of like the 90s. Like every 90s kid can quote any part of that movie. You know what I mean? Anybody between the ages of 15 and 55 can quote any part of Forrest Gump and everybody be all right. And it was just an amazing, amazing movie. The way it wove itself into history.
The special effects with him actually meeting Kennedy.
Yeah,
right. So all these different things that John Lennon and all this other stuff. What they did with the special effects was great, and then the soundtrack was just perfection.
Yeah, so I'm going for
absolutely. All right, let's get a little funny bone action going, Mr. Stand-Up Comic. Friday versus Clerks.
Ooh, this is actually the same movie, but for 2 different skin colors.
Well, one's Friday, one's Saturday.
Exactly. I am a huge fan of Kevin Smith. I think Clerks is probably one of the
his best
movies I've seen of all time. However, Friday really kind of changed the way America saw like the hood.
It actually showed like we had some good times in the hood too. It wasn't
on just shoot 'em up and drama and like and I mean it still showed a little bit of that in the movie, but it showed a lighter side of the hood. But I still, as much as I really did like Friday, I'm gonna have to go with Clerks just on the artistic level.
Wow.
I love Friday, but Clerks as far as
Friday had more of a message than Clerks did though. That's
well,
you know, I mean the thing with Clerks was that the dialogue was. I mean, fucking wrote it.
So
let me so dialogue oriented.
Let me just.
It had the.
So you are the moderator, not the commentator.
Yes.
So
can't be biased, sir.
So here's the deal. Yeah. Sometimes you got to put him in check, just like his wife does. So,
but she rewards. Forget it.
So, well, Terrence can too. So here's the deal. I agree with Zeke. Friday gave a lighter side of growing up. They made fun. It was stereotypes, and they played it up. And yes, it was a message that they tried spreading. Okay. But ultimately, if you saw Clerks, it was a niche movie that really expanded to people. People really enjoyed watching this film and didn't get a lot of viewership. There wasn't a lot of publicity behind it. There was no big names.
Ice Cube.
And you were going...
No, in Clerks.
Oh, Clerks.
And you're going with...
I'm going with Clerks.
So even though more people saw Clerks,
no.
Are we going back to Heat?
I'm sorry. Even though more people saw,
you want to argue? If we're going to
go with Clerks.
No, that's not. I'm not saying more people.
No, you're not saying that. But I can tell you for sure, more people saw Friday than saw Clerks.
Okay, Independence Day versus Star Wars Episode 1: The Phantom Menace.
Oh, that's.
I am obviously going to go with the freaking Phantom Menace.
What?
Are you going against the grain just to be shock boy, or
no?
Phantom
Menace. I mean that.
Okay.
I thought I was going to be crucified for picking Independence Day in this crowd, but between the two, I was all about Independence Day.
I loved Independence Day. Loved Independence Day.
Episode 1 was boring as hell. Until the end, or the middle to the end.
It was.
You shut your mouth.
Terrence, you are the tiebreaker on this one. So Independence Day versus Star Wars, Episode 1.
And we are a big defenders of Star Wars movies and everything, and we defended Episode 1. But it's crazy talk to say that it would lose to Independence.
No, I love.
It's crazy talk. It's crazy talk.
I'm letting my biasness of Star Wars just that's always gonna win.
All right, Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park versus Braveheart.
Why? Are you?
The first round's always hard, son.
Yeah.
I get what
I'll
you're
go
saying
first.
now.
I'm gonna go Braveheart. I gotta go quick off. Just my mind. Just go quick off Braveheart.
And that's where I want to go too.
Because if you sit there and start debating and start arguing, and which is great, we're gonna be here. We're gonna be here for quite some time. So I go first impulse. I'm gonna go with Braveheart.
You know what? I'm gonna go in and also agree. Braveheart is just such an excellent movie from beginning to end. Just because it's got more depth to it than Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park is a great popcorn movie. Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna go with the depth of this one.
Not only that, Mel Gibson, getting away from action and he directs and acts in it. Freaking amazing.
Okay, let's
And
real quick.
shows his ass.
All right. Home Alone versus Clueless.
I'm gonna go ahead and go. I'm gonna go Clueless. I was all about Clueless. It might be the not popular choice, but I was a little bit older when I saw both of these films, and Clueless was closer to my age group.
Do you have sex to that one too?
Yes.
All right.
Oh,
I'm going to say Clueless as well.
All right.
Clueless was just a film. It really epitomized what 90s was. You know, all these popular things that were popping up, it really
Flannel.
Goodfellas
Rolling with the homies.
Goodfellas versus Schindler's List.
Man, that was Schindler's List.
No! Goodfellas! What? I mean, don't get me wrong. Schindler's List is absolutely a great movie. But Goodfellas is an institution.
Oh, I completely understand, and so is Schindler's List.
No, it's not.
Argue with all the Jews.
What you looking at me for? Wait,
that is an amazing comeback. Argue with the Jews.
all right. So you got Schindler's List.
Schindler's List.
All right. I'm going to have to definitely go with Goodfellas.
Bam!
From a historical standpoint, Schindler's List was absolutely amazing. But when it comes to the movie and
here's the
but you know what? But so was Goodfellas.
That's what I'm saying. You can't base off what
it's more. It to me, in all honesty, just Goodfellas was just a lot more.
What was a
they
better
both were
movie?
great. But it's really hard to debate. That they're both really well-made movies. Scorsese and Spielberg were freaking both amazing. I'm just gonna have to go with Goodfellas. I just love Goodfellas.
you guys blinded by that. I don't get me wrong. I love Goodfellas, but if you really sit back and think, man, which one is a better film?
They're
Not
both.
which. No. Hold on. Which one is a better film? That's what we're comparing.
What is your criteria?
All right, so that's exactly.
We don't have that kind of time right now.
Hold on, Terrence. Goodfellas, Schindler's List. From a film standpoint, they're both filmed beautifully. The cinematography was great. Dialogue was kind of vulgar, obviously, for Goodfellas, but it was based on reality just as much as Schindler's List was. Where the vulgarity and dialogue with frickin' Goodfellas, the violence and all that content from Schindler's List takes its place. So, what do you got?
I mean, and my whole thing is that maybe I'm a little biased. Is that Schindler's List is so depressing, and Goodfellas, it's a great and engaging story, and then I don't feel like I was watching Roots, because basically Schindler's List is Jew Roots. Roots.
At the end of the day, if you're comparing which one's a better film, which one's going to leave you thinking like, wow, this was they really. And
I'm not Italian and I'm not Jewish, so I don't really relate to either one of these. But if I'm gonna sit down and watch a movie and I got 2+ hours on my hand, I'm gonna watch Goodfellas. I'm sorry.
I understand, but. Guys, comment below. These guys are being blinded by I really like this type of movie.
You already know.
So
let them know.
All right, here we go. Silence of the Lambs versus Scream.
What for, man? He's just gonna agree with you. Whatever is I really like this type of genre. I'm gonna agree with. I'm gonna agree. So I'm gonna go with Silence of the Lambs.
I kind of want to agree I thought Scream was great. I think Scream actually helped bring back the whole slasher era in the 90s. And it was just, I mean, can't deny it was a great film.
Craven. It's great.
Absolutely. But Silence of the Lambs, as far as it's a deeper film. It's more substance. Thank you. Unlike this show.
Kind of like Schindler's List, right? I'm just saying.
It's not the same.
I'm just saying it's a deeper film. It's not. It's different when I like gangster movies. I prefer that.
All right, Toy Story versus The Lion King.
Good luck, guys.
So good luck to you.
I'm gonna go Lion King. I have to go Lion King.
Okay.
I'm going with my gut. Like Art said, go with your first reaction. I think they're both fantastic. I thought Lion King, though, the story, the animation, the music was amazing. Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm going Lion King.
And I'm going to go with Toy Story. Toy Story was another film that people watched it, and you're like, wow, this not only changes what you think, it really you're there reflecting on your own childhood, what you were watching these films as a kid, and reflecting, man, I love these toys, and I lost my childhood. You leave that movie, or you watch that movie thinking, I reminisce about my childhood and the attachments that I had to these toys.
Aspen, I'm gonna give you this one. Toy Story, Lion King. What do you pick?
Lion King.
Lion King wins.
Toy Story 2 was the better film anyway.
Happy Gilmore versus Miss Doubtfire.
Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore.
Easily.
Hello. That's about the only thing you remember from.
Pretty much, yeah.
From Mrs. Doubtfire.
All right, finally, Boys in the Hood versus Menace to Society.
Oh, dang! Dang! Really? Really?
Wait a minute. That's not the same movie? That's not the same movie. Oh my God. Oh, dog.
You owe me money? No, I don't, but here you go. Stand up, King!
Boys in the Hood versus
Ricky
Menace
dying
to
versus
Society.
King dying. Come on, what you got?
I understand that, but you got Ice Cube
Versus Lorenz.
Doughboy versus Lorenz Tate. Like, who's still...
Lorenz Tate was gangsta in that film. Come on.
And he was also in Dead Presidents.
And Love Jones.
Hey, it wasn't like...
And Biker Boys.
And Biker Boys.
Hey, it wasn't like...
Oh, man.
I think maybe because of that, I'm going to have to pick...
Maybe we should go with Cube.
I don't know what you're thinking.
I'm gonna go with Boys in the Hood. Immediate first reaction, Boys in the Hood. Although I love both films, you can sit there and reflect this, that, and the other. Boys in the Hood was the first one, right? It came out before Menace to Society. Everybody was talking about it. This was like, wow, this is a new introduction to the hood.
All right. So you got Boys in the Hood. What do you got?
I'm going to go to Great Boys in the Hood.
Boys.
Do that.
Okay. All right, that ends round one. You can finally friggin' wipe that friggin' sweat off your brow there, Zeke, because that one took you to the hill. Round two, first match, Terminator 2 versus ID4.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go with Terminator 2.
What you got?
What's ID4?
Independence Day.
Oh, God damn it.
That tells you enough. You should have gone with Terminator 2.
Terminator 2, I guess we're going with.
You know what? Terminator 2 regardless.
Okay. All right, Braveheart versus Matrix.
Matrix.
Okay. All right, Seven versus Silence of the Lambs.
Ooh. I'm still gonna go. Ooh.
I'm gonna go with Silence of the Lambs.
I'm gonna go with Silence of the Lambs.
Good choice.
Oh, tough.
Happy Gilmore versus Clerks.
Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore.
A bunch of college kids around just watching this movie.
Aladdin versus Clueless.
Ooh, Aladdin. As much as I like Clueless, Alicia Silverstone, attractive, hot. I'm sorry, I don't want to offend my wife. Even if she's watching. She is watching. Making certain I'm here. I'm going to go with Aladdin. It just really was a new movie that everybody was watching, talking about as a kid or even as an adult.
I'm gonna go with Clueless. I still like Clueless. Clueless was produced by the same by the same woman who did
she was a chick
Fast
back
Times
then.
at Ridgemont High.
I know.
So it's just closer to me. I'm gonna go with Clueless.
I'm gonna have to break the tie. I'm gonna go with Aladdin because Robin Williams' performance was too damn good.
This is like the first time you've agreed with me.
He was
I would have agreed with you on Silence if he would have picked Seven. Pulp Fiction versus Forrest Gump.
This is the exact thing that happened at the Oscars.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
This is the exact thing.
So now you can
Forrest Gump.
So now you can correct the mistake, can you?
I'm going with Pulp Fiction. I got you, Quentin. Pulp Fiction.
I will agree wholeheartedly. Pulp Fiction.
Awesome. Okay.
One of them movies.
Goodfellas versus Boys in the Hood.
Goodfellas.
Okay. Heat versus Lion King.
One of the most iconic animations of all time versus one of the best action cops and robbers film of all time.
I'm gonna go with Lion King.
Wow.
I'm just saying. I think Lion King over the long run will hold up longer.
I mean, Heat didn't have no Hakuna Matatas.
I'm gonna agree with Lion King. Heat didn't have any steam.
He's here all week, so be somewhere else. All right.
No, be here. Watch the video.
That ends the second round. We are now in the third round, and we're gonna start it with
who are the contenders?
We're going to start it with Matrix versus Lion King.
Matrix. First gut reaction, Matrix. It's still an iconic, even though Lion King, iconic, right? Picking up your baby and this is, all this is yours. But Matrix, even now, people watch Matrix years, and I'm saying years, like what, 20 years later? And people are still, doing something about the Matrix, talking about the Matrix. This set so much of an iconic Keanu Reeves. This was an introduction as Keanu Reeves as a.
There's no John Wick without Matrix.
No.
No, that is true. And I think the Matrix again.
Or Speed.
The Matrix to me was a huge film.
Why do you keep looking at his card?
Because I'm trying to remember.
Don't cheat, bro.
Matrix versus Lion King.
Thank you. Oh my God, Matrix versus Lion King?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
The realization.
Right?
It just sunk in.
Disney versus Wachowskis.
Don't do drugs.
Only because I love The Matrix. The Matrix was a game-changing film, and it still, I think, holds water today as far as a good film.
Wow. All right.
It's great.
Silence of the Lambs versus Happy Gilmore.
How did that make the third?
Yeah, that's odd.
Happy beat Clerks.
Wow.
Silence of the Lambs.
I'm gonna agree. Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
It's like there's your Cinderella story right there.
Terminator 2 versus Aladdin.
Ooh, I'm gonna go with Terminator 2.
I will also go with Terminator 2.
And finally, Pulp Fiction versus Goodfellas.
Oh. You couldn't put.
No, he couldn't. No, he
I
couldn't.
know where I'm going, so y'all tie break.
Terrence, you will tie break this one.
I know
Pulp Fiction versus Goodfellas? Yep. That's not even fair. That should be in the. Those two should be in the top 4.
This is how all the other decades.
This is how NBA basketball is as well. Right? You got the West who's really dominant, and you got the East who's not.
This is how RoboCop got kicked out of the top 4.
Goodfellas versus Pulp Fiction.
By Die Hard. That was a good.
Goodfellas versus Pulp Fiction.
Art, you want to go first and give think some time?
I can't.
Really? Because I went first last time.
Whoa,
Okay.
you were talking about like gut reaction.
Yeah, gut reaction.
I had my gut reaction was like, fuck you. That was my gut reaction.
All right, what's your FU reaction?
My gut reaction between Pulp Fiction and Goodfellas. I'm gonna go with Goodfellas. If I had to choose both, if they're both on TV, I love them both. If I'm gonna choose, I'm gonna choose Goodfellas.
I'm gonna go with Pulp Fiction.
Oh, Terrence, it falls on you, sir.
Put it on me?
It's on you.
Quick answer, Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction. Wow, Goodfellas does not make the cut.
The
is
soundtrack of Pulp Fiction.
This world.
Characters in Pulp Fiction.
The soundtrack to Goodfellas.
No, it's a good soundtrack in Goodfellas, but the soundtrack to Pulp Fiction, the characters in Pulp Fiction, I think it got.
I don't want to live in a world where Pulp Fiction and Goodfellas are in the top 4 together.
Well, you don't, because you're in the 2010s now.
There you go.
All right, so representing the 90s in the ultimate Kumite is Terminator 2 Judgment Day, The Matrix, Pulp Fiction, and Silence of the Lambs. That is a solid 4.
That is a very solid 4.
That is a very solid 4.
It was tough. It was a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be.
Stay tuned for the 2000s Kumite, which will be coming out pretty soon. And after that, when we find out the final 4 there, we'll have the 16. We will get the final 4 there, and then we will have the ultimate Kumite to find out what decade had the best movies. I want to thank our guests, Pinche Zeke, for Art Cherries, for Aspen, for Terrence on the side here. I'm Manny.